So you're in Rome and you've missed the fabulous Caravaggio exhibition at Palazzo Barberini. Don't worry, don't cry. I have the perfect plan B for you today. Buongiorno a tutti, welcome to Stranger in Rome. So today I'm here to give you the perfect plan B if you have missed the most famous exhibition of Rome of the year. I'm talking about the Caravaggio one. And I'm gonna give you the perfect plan B today to admire 6 of the most famous masterpieces of Caravaggio. This is a perfect trick because these 6 Caravaggio are visible in 3 churches. They are daily opened and this is for free. Just few coins if you want the light to illuminate them. So let's follow me for a walk by the city to discover this opportunity to get 6 Caravaggio for free. Just some advice: if you want to have a look to more Caravaggio, you must know, maybe we will do a video about this, that they are the ones that are visible in some museum of Rome, but that will be the subject of another video. For now, let's discover these 6 masterpieces through the churches of Rome. to the Francese with three Caravaggio to join Sant'Agostino, which is really nearby, and there we will see the Madonna dei Pellegrini. Because they're on renovation, it's a bit harder to find the entrance, but it's still open. And let's have a look inside. Maybe you recognize the stairs behind me, because they are the one where Kim Stuart died in Romanzo Criminale, the movie. But now let's have a look inside. In case you are counting, we are about already 4 Caravaggio with 2 churches. And now let's join the most famous church with 2 Caravaggio left. I'm talking about Santa Maria del Popolo. Of course, this one is the most famous church and was to be seen by itself, but cherry on the cake. There are two Caravaggio there. Piazza del Popolo and reach Santa Maria del Popolo to see the last two ones. So now that we have reached Via del Corso, it's straight ahead till Piazza del Popolo. On the way, the Fendi flag store, and on the other side, Via Condotti, with at the end Piazza di Spagna. But the straight and shorter way to reach Piazza del Popolo is to go through Via del Corso. today it was not possible to see the Caravaggio inside Santa Maria del Popolo because they were celebrating a wedding. So I hope that you've enjoyed to discover with me almost 6 Caravaggio, even if the one of Santa Maria del Popolo was not accessible. So if you want more information about it, everything is linked in the video, in the description video. And don't forget that it's possible to admire more Caravaggio in Rome if you have more time, because some of them are hosted in some museums, like Galleria Doria Pamphili, la Galleria della Villa Borghese, but also the wonderful Judith and Noriferma, which is at Palazzo Barberini. So this is only if you have more time, because the museum, each museum has only 1 or 2 Caravaggio, and if you want to see more of them, the church option is obviously the best one. So hope you've enjoyed to discover this with me today. If you'd like me to create more videos like this, don't forget to give me a like and leave a comment, share this video with friends or family members, and most of all, don't forget to subscribe. See you soon on the next video. Ci vediamo tra poco. Arrivederci. Ciao ciao.